The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Another trip up to northern New England here as we exit the state of Florida and head to the Magic Mile. Omitting the banking and the high speeds, and here to the 1 mile paperclip in Loudon, New Hampshire. The Area Pro Series presented by Florida Estate Builders takes here to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for round number 3 of their 2025 campaign. Let's see who can bring home Loudon the Lobster after we saw a phenomenal truck race. Let's see what we can do here tonight in these Xfinity cars. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's efforts. Again, round number 3 of the Area Pro Series presented by Florida Estate Builders here. We're at the Magic Mile for what will be 135 laps around this 1 mile circuit. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck, along with Hunter Sleppy here to help me out with the calls. So Hunter, last week at Homestead we were rim riding. Today here at Loudon we might be flat riding here. This apron has been really opening up the lanes here, and the truck race was interesting. The cup race was a wreck fest. What do you think these Xfinity cars are gonna do tonight?
Might be a mixture of both. I know how on edge these Xfinity cars usually are when we're not at flat track or just at a super speedway in general. I mean, we saw the big wreck on the last lap at Daytona when Matt Kemp pulled through victorious, and then last week it provided some fantastic racing at Homestead, and Sebastian Marin absolutely dominated that one, led about 117 of the 130 laps in that one. But you mentioned it, 135 on the schedule for tonight's race. Still thinking that turn 2 is probably going to be an issue. The car tends to want to slide out from underneath on corner exits, so that might be an issue. But yeah, the banking here, there's not really much to go off of. There's no Larson lining it. There's about 2 to 7 degrees of banking through the turns, and then maybe a degree on the straightaways, so there's not much to go off of. So a lot of guys will tend to run the bottom of the racetrack. Could provide for some interesting bumper-to-bumper action or some possible 2 to 3 wide moves going into the turns.
Yeah, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, certainly a track that has a lot of different lanes to it. Back in the year 2002, they did a little bit of work here to try to make the racing better, and I'll just kind of do my representation here of my John Madden telestrator. Down here on the bottom, this is the apron. This is completely flat. Was a viable line in the truck race the other day. This is the 2002 lane right here. This is essentially a continuation of the apron. It's all but flat, maybe a degree if you're generous here. And then right here where you can see those cars running through right now, right here in this second lane here, this is the actual first lane of the track that the track was built with back in 1993. Someone will fact check me on that. And then you have the second lane here. And anything above that, this up here, this is actually original pavement back from the original paving of this place back in the early 90s. But there was an era, Hunter, I don't know if you remember this, where they used some PJ1 here. That also varied up some of the lanes. And we kind of have a mixture of all of that here as, again, some of these guys struggling here in practice.
Yeah, that was a time to be had, but I think better days are ahead now for real life racing, and I think better days are ahead for the Pro Series in itself. We've got 2 different winners to kick off Season 7. Mentioned Matt Kemp at Daytona, Sebastian Marin dominating at Homestead. As far as New Hampshire goes, the only other race we've had here back in Season 3 was won by John Furness, who usually does well on these short tracks. He had a last lap pass late in the season in Bristol Motor Speedway back in Season 6 during the playoffs. So Usually does well on these short tracks. It has like a short track feel, but the long straightaways make it feel like it's just a regular speedway. So we'll see what qualifying has in store for us. I believe that's Ryan Nowicki in the 74 trying to get a lap in.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and one and done here when it comes to laps. I mean, he's going to get stopped before the line, so he'll get to reset. Again, Matt Kemp here on track, the 51, the Taco Bell ride. We saw in Tuesday's race, and seeming to be the case here as well. Everyone's going all the way up to that Larson line that doesn't exist, but trying to get that run off of 4, give them every ounce of speed to the line there, Hunter. That gives you that best shot into turn number 1, but then you have to be able to slow it down, running a few miles an hour faster than usual.
Yeah, it's such a hard balance trying to get through the turns. Just don't want to overslide things too much. Don't want to get too much on corner exit. Joseph Berg in the 93 looking like he's got a second quickest time on the board. As it's only 5 minutes here for qualifying, so one and done. Weileman in the 39 going to be 8th quickest. Travis Beckner's putting up a time as well. Was quickest. Now Sebastian Marin jumped him on the board.
Yeah, Marin, he dominated a few weeks ago. Where did he dominate? Sebastian Marin, he dominated at Homestead, leading the majority of that race. There's Connor Okresic, didn't have a good run. Here comes Matthew Bell in the 9. Time to beat is a 30.78. Not going to do that for Matthew Bell down there in the 8th position. Reese Schaefer, he's just exiting his pit stall. Here comes Jeremy Brown. He is on his out lap. Try to find somebody who is out and running right now. Everybody is, looks like they're going right to the buzzer, trying to get maybe that cooler track temp if possible.
Yeah, it's big here, trying to get at least some sort of grip. Don't want to be too hot, too slick. Don't want to get sliding here. Ed Sheeran, the 6 for LVV Racing, coming through. Looking like he's putting down a time. Scioli's second quickest on the board. Here's Bryce Senesac in the 09, looking to kick off his season. He had some rough finishes. He's down in 35th in the points, so he's looking for his first top 10 on the year.
Yeah, on 23rd where he is right now is here Matthew Batby. He's coming off turn number 4. Again, he's got to run a higher line, a little bit of wiggle off of turn number 4. That's not going to help cause his out. That lap's not too shabby. Let's see where it puts him on the pylon. 9th place, not too bad. Shouldn't be too upset about that. Exiting the pits now. This is the heavy hitter. We got Nate Stewart, and he's doing whatever he can to get some heat in those Goodyears, Hunter.
Yeah, Nate Stewart, the dual winner at Daytona for the Cup Series, so was able to get that done. He's 7th in standings right now for the Pro Series. He's actually in a 3-way tie with Kemp and Logan Clampett, although Stewart doesn't have any top 10s to his name at all this season. So still looking for that first one, as Brody Falker in the 1 coming through, trying to put down the fastest time over Sebastian Marin.
We'll see what happens through 3 and 4. What line is he going to use? He's going to go low, kind of straddle that first seam using the little bit of banking that Loudon does offer, coming off turn number 4. Let's take a look. What's this time going to be? It's going to be a 31.12, not going to be what he wants. And now one of the last few to run. We got about 6 or 7 who have yet to turn a time. Look at Nate Stewart down there on the flat on entry. Can he get the diamond and do it on exit? Not so much. Let's see what it musters. Oh, slower than I would have thought for him. 23rd in Atlanta.
And we have more than 43 drivers trying to make the field, so we're going to have some go-or-go homers. Carter Coop and I believe Dawson Miller in the admin tower. They're going to get that sorted for us with the last 30 seconds or so remaining. John Forbes Jr., I'm pretty sure he is locked in. I think he's a charter driver, I want to say, so he'll have that going for him. Yes, he's a part of the Lucky Duck camp, so despite him being down on the leaderboard, he'll be locked in without hesitation.
Yep, and he is already just kind of running some bonus laps, which is something that happened last night again. Well, rather Tuesday night. If you watched the truck race, we actually kind of had a little interesting scenario here with the little admin glitches in the back, and kind of gave us a little race within a race there. But guys, we're actually running a lot of extra qualifying laps. Sebastian Marin still actually is on track running qualifying laps up to the very buzzer. So just trying to get every bit of experience, but that'll wrap up qualifying. And now we will have a little bit of a warm up, situate our grid, and we'll see who's going to go home. Again, I think it was about 47 on the list here today, Hunter.
Yeah, so at least 4 going home. Looking back at season 3. It was an incredible race. I mean, David Weishart got past late in the goings. James Scully was there as well. But when Weishart got past, he ended up getting caught up in a wreck with Travis Spector and Scully, and then his car actually took off and launched about 100 feet into the air. That was on the old New Hampshire circuit, and he came catapulting down into turn 1. So it was a surreal thing to see. I doubt we have that again, but I would expect to see some fine racing up front. I think we have Jake Nichols qualified 3rd, Travis Spector 4th as well. So Travis Spector, you know, he's going to be one to get the gloves out. And he was the first one last week to go 3 wide immediately off the start. So can only imagine what he's going to do on the initial start for this one.
Yeah, track position certainly going to be the name of the game here. We'll have the normal conditions that we expect with 4 sets of tires in the green-white checker situation. We'll go over that a little bit later on in the efforts. Well, let's take a look at the weather. It was a desert-like condition on Tuesday night. Track temp was 117 degrees today. Oh, well, let's go. We can sip on our ice creams out here. It's a very balmy 110. So yes, certainly still going to be slick conditions here at Loudon. 3 o'clock sim time. That may go down a little bit, Hunter. This will probably end maybe 5:30 sim time. So that track temp will go down a little bit, but for the majority of it, it's still going to be pretty toasty out there.
Yeah, especially the longer on these green flag runs that we're projected to get, it's going to be fun watching these guys slip and slide through the turns, just trying to reach for a grip. We're going to see a lot of guys running the bottom 2 lanes, even apron throughout the turns. I doubt we see anyone try that 3rd lane unless you necessarily have to, like the 6 of I want to say Shearer.
At Scherer, I believe.
Scherer.
Yeah, I used to cover him in another series. He's someone that I expect to be competitive. And 90, I think that was down the back straightaway, doing some loop-dees there on the road course. But again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. If you're on YouTube, again, like, share, comment, subscribe, have some fun in the chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that, answering your questions and going along with the banter that occurs there. Help us on the 1,600 subscribers. And if you're watching on Twitch, of course, hit the follow button on there and consider subscribing to the Area iRacing Twitch. You can catch them with all the races, and you can consider subscribing for $5 a month. You can get your custom emotes in the chat and earn double points as a subscriber that you can redeem for free merchandise. All of that available there on the Twitch platform. Again, 2 minutes left in practice. We could bump it early. Sometimes admin does, but I think we're going to run this one out.
Yeah, also just getting guys a little warm-up period before we go into battle. 135 laps. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be tiring. It's going to be treacherous because you're going to have guys that are going to be flying through early on, just trying to maximize the most out of their tires. And while some, like Jake Nichols, who's starting, I believe, 3rd, he'll be saving his tires early, and you'll notice that because he's one to save tires as the run goes on. That's if we do get long green flag runs, which we are projecting. I don't expect it to be like Monday night. That was, I think, without a doubt, that's a record for most cautions in the area race. I think we ended with 25 yellows. Half the laps were run under yellow. I doubt we see any of that tonight. I think we see more great racing in the Pro Series. Yeah, I don't quite remember what we had for the final tally on Tuesday night, but I will venture to say it was probably pushing 10, seemed it or so, at about 120 laps, doing 135 here today. I don't know. What did you guys run on Monday night? I believe we had 8 yellows Monday night.
Well, in terms of the race distance.
Race distance, it was 150.
All right, yeah, so we'll scale that back. Hopefully we're a little bit less than all that. These cars will be a little bit, I mean, actually, I guess kind of flip a coin there, Hunter. Of course, in the next gen, you're going to be shifting, but here, I mean, you'd argue these cars are a little bit more driver manipulated. So what would you say if you had to flip a coin? What would be the harder car to drive here at Loudon, a next gen or one of these older style Xfinity cars?
The older style Xfinity cars. I mean, from the tire model is different on that compared to the next gen. There's not really much usage for the next gen. The Pro Series car, it's much more on edge. Saw that back at Daytona. The amount of sideways 15, 20 laps into a run just on a super speedway alone. It's very loose as the run kicks in, so it should be a bit more of a challenge for these guys than the ones that ran on Monday.
Yep, and probably won't see that. Of course, we don't have 5 gears, but shifting is a pretty big name of the game. But we're going to get ready for our grid here today. Our grid is brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. Looking for smaller or large homes, a new shed, or a triple crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving the Florida market for 29 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plan, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get yourself going. But what we have to get going with now is that PTR TV and Central Mobile Homes Inc. starting lineup here from Loudon. And let's head down trackside for it. Starting from the pole, going to be the Puerto Rican native of Sebastian Marin, looking to go back-to-back with James Scioli there in the second spot. Third finds Jake Nichols. He is always one to watch out for with Travis Beckner. He had a podium run turned wrong in the truck race on Tuesday. Justin Opplinger in fifth with Zach Nichols in sixth. Seventh, we'll find Matt Kemp in the 51, Justin Anasogak in eighth. And then rounding out our top 10, we got Matthew Batby and Matthew Bell, the Mats, in row number 5.
In row 6, we have Dominic Lukomsky in the 66. Alongside him, it's Sander Nyhoff in the 76. In 13th, it's Philip Groner in the number 11, and alongside him it's Garrett Grant in the number 5, going to roll off 14th. 15th, Braxton DeWeese looking to go P1 at the end of this one, along with Joseph Berg in that 8th row. He'll start 16th. 17th, it's Brad Slaughter in the number 8, and alongside him it's Zach Kerr, the Australian native, going to roll off 18th. 19th is Michael Mohammed, and alongside him Jeff Wright in 20th.
Then here we head back to find Brody Falliker in 21st, and then Blaze McKinney out of Cedar Lake, Indiana in 22nd. Ed Robertson in 23rd. Nate Stewart, pretty far back for him. We'll see if he can work up from the 24th spot. Jimmy Cocker in 25th with David Weishart in 26th. 27th, we'll find the likes of Alan Fox and then Brady Walleman. And then rounding out our top 30, we got Francis Hamilton and then Bryce Senesac. We're going to let the rest of it just scroll by because a lot of times there's some inaccuracies with the DNQs, but gives you a reference to some of these times here towards the back of the field.
Yeah, looking through, there are some guys who wish that they had some better runs in qualifying, and some who actually didn't partake in qualifying. I don't think Drew Jua, Connor Kresick, or Jeremy Miller took part in qualifying at all.
Yeah, exactly that. Some guys, you can see some pull-offs towards the back of the field. Our race details here kind of went over it already, but just to summarize it up, we got 135 laps, no stages. Will be an au naturel race. 4 sets of Goodyears to avail in the pits. Again, full fuel loads. We got fixed setups and then 3 green-white checkers. We didn't need any the other day. I don't know if that same could be said for Monday. We didn't need them Tuesday, but we'll see what happens here in that capacity.
Yeah, it should be a fun race. I think, we're going to get one more pace lap just so these guys can kind of get settled in before we go into long haul for this one. Looking at these green cars up here, the 7 and the 73 teammates from 609 Motorsports, James Scioli and Jake Nichols. They're the ones to watch out for, alongside with the defending winner from last week, looking to go back-to-back, Sebastian Marin. And I mentioned Travis Beckner, the official flagman for the Hendrick County Motorsports Park. He's one to get a little bit fightsy, regardless of what track we're on, but it's a short track, so he's going to be a lot more aggressive on it. And then, just overall, the main grooves are going to be on the bottom because there's not much banking here. You can't really carry much when you're running in the 3rd or 4th lane. There's no benefit to that, so expect a lot of guys trying to fight for that bottom on corner entry. Exactly
that. Our keys to the race here that I just came up with on the fly. Maintain track position, not the easiest place to pass. Save the rear tires, as we talked about. You got a lot of horsepower and not a lot of banking to get that power down and save the grip, so you got to watch out for that. And then watch out for different brake points. A lot of different approaches here with the different lanes people use. And we saw a couple rear-ending incidents on Tuesday night. We'd like to mitigate how many of those we see here today. But we're coming through turns number 3 and 4 here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in our Ford Mustang FR500S pace car. Going to take the hard left into the safety of the pit lane, and Barney's going to let them get underway. Into the Geico, soon-to-be Echo Park restart zone. Green flag in the air. Let's get some pro racing here at New Hampshire. Off into turn number 1. Everyone washing up the tracks. Semblances of the track being wet in about 2018. Everybody washed on up there. And here we are, 3 abreast pack style, and we'll see how they flail out into turn number 3.
Yeah, Marin trying to run away with it early. Jake Nichols actually trying to slide up 3 wide on Scioli and Beckner. And some guys running all the way up near the wall. That's not going to work well on exit. Marin's going to lead lap 1, and then it's going to be a door-to-door battle for 3rd heading into turn 1.
You can see here, contra to what we saw the other night. Nobody going down here to the flat. I don't think these Xfinity cars have that. They have the speed, probably have a smaller wheelbase, running a little bit quicker. No matter what the grip is down there, they can't sustain that flat, running more traditional Loudon lines here this evening, which I think will make the passing more difficult.
Spinning in turn 3. Multiple cars in the outside wall over in turn 3. We're still green for the time being.
Oh, yeah,
now
there we go. Yeah, we're wrecking.
Yeah, it sounded like, Joe, they're still wrecking in turn 4.
Yeah, what's going on?
It sounded like a few cars got into the outside wall. I'm not real sure
we'll have to
who, but
dissect that on our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay here. It was kind of a multi-faceted incident here, so we'll just try to take a gander at it from the backstretch perspective, because I think this is where it started, somewhere in the middle here. See if I'm
looking at Sander Nyhoff in the 76. He's already out of the session, so looks like that might be the nucleus of this.
Yeah, it's up there. There's the turn. Yeah, there's the turn 3 aspect of it. Yeah, some contact there. 93 stacked up, and then there's the 13 spinning around. Let's get one more look at it here now that we kind of fine-tuned, where it stemmed from. Let's kind of watch Sander in that car, that white car. Yep, contact there from the 13 to a rear. It just was what was in my keys to the race, if I could get some words out there. It was all about different braking points, not expecting when the 76 was going to woe down. A little bit of contact to the rear.
He also had help from Zach Kerr. That was the 12 that got into Deweese, because Deweese had rear end damage before, but it was just a chain reaction heading into the turn, and already early on we have a first yellow of the night.
Yeah, nobody ordered pizza, but we ended up with a domino effect there, so that'll be our first caution. Luckily, these carbon fiber bodies, both virtually and in the simulator, do tend to be a little bit forgiving when it comes to damage. There's the 98 of Rafe Slate in the pits. Zach Kerr, Joseph Berg, Braxton Deweese, they are in the pits. I'd have confidence they could probably get themselves situated, although Sander has since retired already from that impact.
He took a whale of a lick a few times in that one, so already done. But Berg, Kerr, Deweese, they're back out. Rafe Slate just now got back out on the racetrack, so it's still Nyhoff down in the pits. Might have been an early shower for him, but it's an early yellow for the leaders to kind of catch up and rally back the 24 Sebastian Marin. He was starting to pull away very, very early in the going.
Yeah, and that's just that's a dangerous sentiment there. You go to a mile and a half at Homestead, but Homestead being a driver's track, and Marin stunk up the show. It was a race for second, and now you come to another driver's track where you don't really have the benefit of slipstream or pack racing. Really, you really have to dig down deep and elbow grease your way around this place. And here you go, it's Sebastian Marin setting himself up for a duplicate.
Indeed, as the pace car is going to be making the hard left turn on the pit road. Marin's going to be the control car on this restart. Should give us a good sign as to what the restarts will entail for the remaining factor of the night. And you can already see the jump that he gets just from the start, the zone to the start-finish line. He's already got about 2 car lengths on Beckner and Nichols.
Yeah, we saw somebody going all the way down there. You'll see them running on the normal first lane, but we're not heading down there to the flat. And you can see already the wiggles. We had a couple drivers mention turn 2 is the trouble spot here today. We see some near 3 wide action. The number 44 of Zach Nichols down to the inside, trying to get by Batby in the 71. They're 2x2, starting to fizzle out. Somebody in the fence there. I think that was Batby.
Yeah, right behind the 44 of Nichols there, just tapping the wall in corner exit. That's going to be a trouble spot too. These guys lay in the going.
No.
Spin in the back,
That's
middle of the
Brady
pack, coming back up.
Falliker around. Also the 2 having some significant problems. That's Greg Mitchell. And we're back-to-back cautions within 10 laps here at Loudon.
Yeah, John Furness as well getting caught up in that one. Take a look at a replay here.
Yeah, that was can't tell exactly. The 5 was there. I can't tell who came up, who came down. They were fighting for the same bit of real estate. Oh, the 1 came up into the 5. And then Greg Mitchell just completely, this innocent bystander there, just got clipped. We'll go from the top-down perspective. You can kind of see the lanes shifting here. Again, the 1 and the 5 dead center in the middle of the shot.
Yeah, a little bit wonky with these cars on these hits there from to the 05 of Stewart all the way to the 2 of Greg Mitchell. He really got wow-patow there from slide contact, so that might be an issue in the sim as the night goes on. Furnish just getting a little love tap in that incident, but nothing major for him.
Yeah, not at all, but again, as we saw I want to say it was the 87 of McKinney go down to the flat. I don't know if that threw off the 1's perspective and maybe caused him to overreact up the track, but kind of, that's what happens 3 wide here at Loudon, but that'll put us, lap number 9 on the board. No pit stops. I mean, you could always consider fuel. You never know when it's going to have that green run. Maybe having that extra fuel in the cell can help you shorten a later stint, but certainly you have to consider those 4 tires and, of course, the track position. So at this caution pace, I wouldn't expect pit road to busy up for quite some time.
Yeah, with the rapid fire of yellows, I wouldn't be surprised about that either. A couple follow-ups on that first yellow, 2 incident points to the 12 of Zach Kerr for cause of the yellow, and then that most recent one, it was 2 incident points to Brody Falliker in the 1. And we already know that for Monday night, next Monday's race, it's going to be a lot for as far as incident points and EOLs going through, but it might be a telling sign so far that that's only going to build up throughout the course of the night.
Yeah, just gotta be gotta mind your P's and Q's, as we always like to say here. But again, our replays, our instant replays here on the evening, are brought to you by Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at Hendry County Motorsports Park. Join them March 29th to see the Thunder Truck, street stocks, and more. Tickets are $20 for adults and kids. Age 5 and under are free. Bring the family to the track with their family pack of 4 for $25. Come see the racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27, henrycounty.com. That is our replay sponsor, and we'll probably have a lot more of those replay sponsors. Hopefully not, but I would kind of beckon to say yes. But we'll come through 3 and 4 and queue up another restart, Hunter.
Yeah, if you do go this Saturday night, you'll see up in the flag stand Travis Beckner, driver of the number 27, is going to restart on the outside here. He was able to get up to second on that last sprint, as we'll call it. Marin's going to be the control car again. See the jump that he gets in the box. I mean, it's a lethal jump right in the middle. Although Beckner timed it pretty well, he's got a fender on him going into 1.
Yeah, that's a pretty good run. And can he drive to the outside? He drove with all might to try to stay to the outside, and he's doing a good job. Kind of got 2 wheels all the way up into no man's land up there, but the bite kind of sufficed for him. He'll go door to door, and I'd argue he has the better position here entering turn 3.
Yeah, it's a dogfight for that lead because the yellow could come out at any moment given what we've seen so far. Beckner's got to run. Marin's going to slide up beneath of him. Tight side-by-side battle throughout the pack here as Beckner's going to lead that time through. Contact
between the leaders and contact out back as well, as we're basically Talladega-esque here in the middle of the field. As you said, that caution could come out at any time. There goes McKinney all the way down there on the flat, running that truck line we saw. I don't know if it worked for him, but he's trying at the very least. As we're still side-by-side for the lead, there goes the Loudon lunge by Beckner going all the way to the bottom. And he'll clear, and here comes Marin trying to pull off a crossover.
That was the exact opposite that happened that time on the backstretch. Beckner backed up for the crossover through 1 and 2. Marin got the run through. Although slid up into Beckner that time, Beckner might have a strong enough run to pull away this time through. Although I say that, it's still a dead heat heading into 3.
Yeah, Honey, we're here Tuesday night. We kind of coined the Loudon dive bomb. We called it the Loudon lunge. These guys pulling that haymaker and then maybe setting up for a crossover. I wouldn't call that quite the lunge. He kind of a little bit more peaceful, similar to what we saw at Homestead, guys doing that big dive bomb. But Marin will hold off the challenge for the time being? Does Beckner, is that all he has, or can he dig in the tank and find some later on? I guess we'll find out. Going to the middle of the field is, never mind, because we're wrecking.
Yep, third yellow of the night, lap 14. Looks like
there.
05 of Nate Stewart was caught up in that one.
Yeah, I'll cue up our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay once more. Oh, contact with the 5 of, is that Garrett Grant in the 5?
Yes.
See 87 all the way down the track. Again, we're having spatial issues here. But again, Loudon, not a track that you expect to have to give 3 lanes of space for. But it seems like guys are really sliding up there on the bottom lane.
Yeah, tough to see if the 05 came down, or this will probably be a better angle. If the 5 just got right into him, and looks like that's what happened. Ed Robertson nowhere to go in the 64, just minding his business on the outside. But that was a pretty good fight for the lead for the time being, because that was about, what, 4 or 5 laps maybe? A little sprint there that Beckner had on Marin, and by the time they got settled down, the yellow came out again.
Yeah, that was pretty good stuff. Again, clean racing. It seems as though, I'm not sure, obviously here on iRacing, drivers can practice whatever they like, or if guys practice the next gen or the truck. If you practice that move in the truck on Tuesday night, that Loudon lunge, diving it on down there, the truck kind of bites a little bit more. You might have been able to sustain that line, but these Xfinity cars, you try to do that dive into the corner, they seem to just want to slide up the track. They're not biting, and it seems like these guys have to acclimate to that.
Indeed, as the admins have ruled that as the 5 and 05 were just merging together at the same time, so that's an incident point for both drivers. So far, 16 laps in out of 135. Beckner gave it a good shot to Marin, but it's been all Sebastian Marin for the most part. Skyly, Nichols, Opplinger, top 5 to stay the same. Matt Kemp still running solid in the 6th position. Bappy, despite hitting the wall, still running fine in 7th. Nichols, Jeff Wright's jumped up from 20th to 9th, so pretty good progress for him. Philip Groner has also cracked the top 10 as well.
And our Hello Fresh machine in the pits, as to be expected, because some damage there for Ed Robertson. I don't know if support will give him a discount on that box, because it was damaged in shipping, but I'll get in the pits, try to get that situated here. But we'll get 1 to green. Usually the blue on the ticker indicates 1 to green, but the pace car lights are on, so looks like we'll have at least 1 more lap. Yeah,
Need 1 more lap around. Oh.
Yeah, typically when the ticker flag goes blue, I have that program to kind of cue us to 1 to green, but maybe they had to extend this for one reason or another. Somebody there might be getting a free pass or a wave around. That is not Zach Kerr, but who was that? Can't tell who it is, but it's of minimal significance. Someone getting waved around here, and this time by we should get those lights turned off, and we'll try this again. We'll see if Beckner can get that same kind of restart, but as you know, Hunter, as soon as a leader kind of has a problematic restart, tried something different, didn't work, you know what you do? You try something different again and see if Beckner can catch on to it.
Yeah, I mean, other than timing the restart, I'm not sure what else he can try. He tried the crossover move a couple of times. That didn't quite work out, so I'm interested in seeing what else Beckner has in his arsenal of his, as, again, the field double filing up, coming to 1 to go this time through. I think Brad Slaughter, he was 12th. Did he come back down pit road? Top off on fuel, maybe?
Let's see. Brad Slaughter.
He's actually a lap down.
Yeah, he's 1 lap down at present, so we'll see how things shake out, the rate we're going. As long as you can stay clean, I'm almost certain there'll be a lucky dog opportunity that presents itself. And still plenty of time left here in the race. Only 18 laps into it, but let's see what happens up front. We had a really good restart last time by. We had a good jump from the outside lane. Well, Marin tries something different. Can Beckner duplicate the situation? And we're wrecking off the start.
It's the 8 of Slaughter, hard into the
we
inside.
have an upside down.
He's barrel rolling on the front stretch.
Yeah, that is not something you see too often here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, is a car upside down.
Yeah, well, you mentioned would Beckner try something different. Marin waited until the last second to go in that box. That's why we got that stack up, and that's why we saw the 8 of Beckner, the 8 of Slaughter go upside down.
Yeah, we're Keep an eye on this with the inside lane there. Yeah, that inside lane. Oh my gosh. It's stacked up more than a kid at the Lego store there. Let's get one more look at it.
It was Garrett Grant, the 5, that assisted Slaughter into turning him over on his lid.
Rear decklet of Marin here. Yeah, you can kind of see it, you know, if the leader, if you know, I have a hard time saying that Marin started that, but you know, if it takes 0.1 of a checkup that turns into 0.2, that turns into 0.3, and when it gets to 6 rows in, that checkup is about a 10-mile-an-hour variance there.
Yeah, I mean, you just cut away from it, but we'll look at it again. Beckner timed it perfect that last time through, right in the middle of that restart zone, because that's when Marin was going. And then he kind of checked up because Marin wasn't going at that point, trying to throw him off his game. And it did, but it threw off the rest of the pack as well. Saw it though, 9 to Senesac get caught up in that, and there was another car spun around in the back there. But unfortunate to see some guy's day possibly come to an end because of that. Yep,
and you know, our attendance, we have 2 drivers formally out of the race right now, Sander Nyhoff and Rafe Slate. We have Brad Slaughter, who is 4 laps down, still technically in his box getting service. So we have 41 cars still, you know, registered and able to continue. Still 32 on the lead lap, about 5 1 lap down, and about 3 more that are 2 laps down rather. So anybody 1 lap down, stay in it. You're going to get a free pass. Just evade the carnage. Do not get an incident point when that caution comes out, and iRacing will give you the benefit of the doubt. But hopefully things clean up here. Hopefully we do not have that massive stack up on the restart, and we'll see what happens this time, Hunter.
Yeah, I wanted to say I was shocked that Slaughter was up there, even though he was listed a lap down. Not sure if there was a scoring issue on that or not, but Marin brings the field back to green. He's got a good jump on Beckner heading into 1.
Yeah, heading off into turn number 1. We will not have that battle for the lead, and we'll see how they funnel through. Somebody down there on the flat trying to make it happen, coming down off of turn number 2 and down the back. We seem rather orderly as we've seen thus far in the event.
Yeah, looking outside right around the back half of the top 10. Bappy and Matthew Bell, 9th and 10th on the track, trying to enter that top 10 is Blaze McKinney. And it looks like Beckner actually got a penalty because he's coming down pit road.
I mean, it's hard to say that. I don't know if that couldn't have been a jump to start because he got a terrible start, but we don't quite know. Maybe we'll find out. But that is obviously a catastrophic turn of events for him. His truck race went downhill very, very late. Had a podium run, finished about 30th, and probably had a top 5 car. He's going to have to fight like bejesus for it. But look at that 87 all the way down there on the flat line. Hopefully everybody realizes that and can give the adequate space.
Yeah, so that penalty for Beckner, he was serving, it was from the last start because he did jump in that box, which that's what Marin did. He checked up a little bit because Beckner was timing it right perfectly in the middle. Matthew Bell sideways. Here comes McKinney down low. Going to be 3 wide entering 3, but that is why Beckner is serving his pass through. It's from the previous restart, not this current one.
Yeah, so I guess a little bit too good to be true there was that restart that we saw last time by. And McKinney is not doing a bad job running that flat line down there. So we'll see if anybody copies it or where the long run, you know, longevity of this stares out, but he's doing a pretty decent job. Washes up there, didn't get a good run. Now Opplinger has do the crossover move down low, but surprised it worked as long as it did, and now we're flailing out down the middle of the back.
Yeah, this is outside the top 10 now. Matthew Bell right in the middle of it. It's got the 23 of Francis Hamilton on his outside. To his inside, Sean Forbes Jr. in the 17.
Somebody there. Who's that stacking up the field in the middle there? Is that McKinney, I think, who maybe stacked up the field? Because he lost a bunch of spots. Perhaps I could catch something that happened there.
Oh, yeah. He was trying to diamond it down. There was a car below that was the 30 of Jeremy Miller he made contact with. It was sideways.
Tried to do his diamond move, and luckily, you know, you could see everybody flailing, but everybody was able to evade it. So, but going up front, now that Beckner is out of the mix, Marin up by a second over Jake Nichols on the stopwatch. They are running pretty close times last time by, both in the 31-4 bracket. And then you go another 2/10 slower back to Scioli in third. So those top two clearly in a mind of their own, but still a lot of time to be had here, and we'll see how the tires wear and if that changes anything.
Yeah, we'll see as the run goes on. Really haven't had a long enough run to kind of get a feel of tire wear, but there's the 30th Jeremy Miller. He's still making progress on that inside lane. You saw what McKinney was doing. Forget all that progress. The yellow's out. It's Francis Hamilton in the outside wall. Center sack, trying to corral it. Not sure what that was all about, but nonetheless, I believe the 5th yellow of the night.
Oh, yeah, that's Bell. A little bit of help there. We'll try to sort out one more time. I mean, trying to be justified and figuring out what may have caused Bell to have that maneuver, but luckily for the 23, didn't really lose it, didn't really get too much damage, and they'll carry on.
Indeed. Trying to get to lap 30 of this one, the 5th yellow of the night coming out. Still Marin dominating. Was trying to see if we could get a long enough run to get the difference in tire wear, because Jake Nichols has been, like I said, he's usually the one that preserves the tires very well under the green flag run, but we haven't really seen that. Not sure if we'll see any takers coming down pit road. It seems like it.
Yeah, here we come. Oh, no, we got a split bag.
It's like everybody coming in but Jake Nichols in the 73.
There's an Akon song. There's an Akon song for this, for those who like 2000s hip-hop. Lonely, I'm so lonely. I have nobody to call my own, and nobody referencing Friends. As there goes, is that who's that getting a free pass right
John
there?
Furnace in the 28. So that's interesting in itself, but there was a different term for that back in the Xbox days with me and my group. They called it Operation Ponka. Ponka was a guy on console league racing who was so dominant that the field really just rallied together, and they decided to call it Operation Ponka, which is just do the opposite of what he does. So I think everyone's doing the opposite of what Jake Nichols did. This will be a good tell of tire wear for possible late race restarts.
See, I always wondered why in the mid-2000s, when Jimmy Johnson was just absolutely obliterating the Cup Series, when it came to a late race restart, why didn't everybody do that? It's like, let's just go together and I don't even care who wins, just make sure that guy doesn't win. Never wondered why that never took off more in the real world. But either way, let's see if the lights go out. The lights do go out, so we'll get stacked up here. And Hunter, what kind of fears do we have given the situation at play with the 73?
I mean, it's not really a bad one. The only bad thing is that if we go on a long green flag run, which I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do given the history of the first 30 laps of this race so far. So it'll be an interesting tell of how much you can use up on your new tires, because I think Michael Venable, did he pit?
Let's see here on the stint. We'll pull up the stints on our tower. Yeah, he did pit. Let's see, what was the pit time? Did he do? He just must have drove through his stall because he had 0 pit time there. No box time.
Yeah, so that's also going to be a good thing for
somebody
Jake
parked
Nichols,
on the apron, just crawling. That's Jeff Wright. Not sure what that's about, if it's going to delay things at all, but it doesn't look like it will. Looks like we're going to come off of 4. And we're going to go green. Nichols got a huge jump. Venable stacks up the inside lane, and that's only going to compound here as we enter turn 1. Look at Marin all the way down there on the flat.
Yeah, that was a saving grace for Jake Nichols, because Marin was stuck behind that 77, but we can already tell that older tire's not going to work because he's got Zach Nichols, no relation to him, all over his bumper looking for the lead.
Yeah, that is obviously going to be a short-lived endeavor, as I think this green flag run may be a short-lived endeavor based on what we're seeing. Nearly 4 or 5 wide off the corner. Yeah, short-lived indeed. There goes Bell.
Yeah, Matthew Bappy in the 71. He drove it. Well,
sort of
saved
saved it
from that inside wall, but that was all from Matthew Bappy in the 71. Drove it high in 3 and 4, got off 4, exit wobbly. So that was a incident for that. Meanwhile, Nichols going to go for the lead on Nichols, and here comes Marin trying to make it the 3-horse race.
Yeah, Zach Nichols did pit. He is on 4 tires, just as well as everybody else. Got a good stop, and we will be interrupted once more by Jeremy Miller.
All right, let's see what the cause of this yellow was.
He's running in the middle. 27 says hello to the left rear quarter panel. Nice little baby hit there. That's no harm, no foul for the end of the race. Just a little bit of track position loss. Well, a lot of bit of track position loss.
That's not going to be good for Beckner, because he benefited from that most recent yellow after serving that pass through. So I'll probably get 2 incident points for that one if I had to assume with what I've seen so far. But we're close on the 100 lap to go threshold of this one.
Yeah, exactly that. Closing in on the end of the race here, and I know I could probably get a little maintenance work done here to go over some of our partners here in the race. We already went over Hendry County Motorsports Park. We can go and talk about rickshotsauce.com. Go to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. You can try the Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series on Monday nights and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie. You can watch that on the IDK YouTube channel, IDK Player YouTube channel. And as Hunter said, they had some calamity on Monday night there, and we are replicating that of sorts here tonight.
Yeah, for the most part. Maybe it's just a me thing because I wasn't there for the truck race Tuesday night, so think there was some green flag laps running that one. Not so much here in the early stages yet, but hopefully that'll change. Zach Nichols benefited from that yellow coming out. It almost worked out for Jake Nichols. The track position, not really much of a difference because he was running in third when that yellow came out, third or fourth, right around that range. So the only thing that I can think of is that maybe he splits it in half and then he'll have fresher tires for the latter half of this race. So that's the only thing I can think of here, because he's going to be in a tough spot in this next restart.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. We'll see what happens on this restart. Marin's going to be in a really good spot there down on the inside, because any bit of wheel spin, he can just go dive 3 wide, maybe do that Loudon lunge into turn number 1, but we'll see if what Nichols can do on that outside lane. Other drivers to watch out for. Philip Groner has himself up to the 5th spot. John Forbes, I think he's had something going on today, but he's got up to the 7th spot. And we'll see Beckner up to 13th, 12th spot right now. So he is recovering from that penalty. But we'll come through 3 and 4 here at the Magic Mile, taking lap number 37 here in this caution-ridden first third of the race. But let's see, maybe this is the one that cleans it up. Into the restart zone we go. Nichols on the loud pedal, and the other Nichols trying to keep up there on the inside.
Yeah, not a bad jump for Jake Nichols there, but he's got Marin going deep already in the 1, taking him 3 deep, running that apron line. It's going to be tough on corner exit. Venable's going to be in a good spot here if he doesn't hit the wall. So now it'll be door-to-door for 2nd, and Marin's going to be on the outside looking in once again going into 3.
Yeah, Marin all the way down to the flat. Jake has cleared for the lead, and he is going to try to drive to safety here. And safety is the only place that the only leader is the only one that has it. Somebody in the fence, the conga line, everybody moving low, trying to find some safety. Luckily, there was no incident to speak of. But for the first time, Marin in traffic with guys on a same strat as him, and he's dedicated to that inside lane. And getting no bite on exit when you run down there, Hunter, makes it a little bit harder to clear.
Yeah, very difficult. Jake Nichols holding his own so far in 2nd. These guys getting a little bit risky with their moves in the 3 and 4. I'm seeing Bappy again running that 3rd lane through 3 and 4. Almost worked out tremendously for him. He's still, oh gosh, that's right in front of him. Opplinger in the 55 got into someone right in front of him, but Bappy's just trying to get the run off corner exit. It's not really working out for him right now.
Yeah, he's stuck there right behind the 89 of Blaze McKinney there. And I can see all the way up in that, I don't even want to say that was a PJ1 line. That was never a PJ1 line. They put it down on the flat, but he's trying to do whatever he can to get that momentum. That's that qualifying warm-up lap line all the way up to the outside. Then just a little bit further back, I see some 3 abreast racing. That's Mike Venable dropping back to the field on those older tires. And who is that all the way to the top? That's Opplinger there. as we're just about 4 wide on exit.
Wow, that is really tight. He hit the wall going in the 1, I'm pretty sure, because he was all the way up there for some reason, but holding his own right now in 11th. Shout out to Jimmy Cocker in the 31. Haven't talked about him all night, running solidly in 12th. Dominic Lukomsky there still running solid in 13th as well. And David Weishart mentioned it. He was the one that went into outer space the last time we went here. He's quietly running in the 14th spot. Holy cannoli. Travis Beckner almost got into the back of Nichols.
Yeah, Beckner shot the 3-pointer there, about airballed it. Luckily he did. Otherwise the 73 would have went around there. But he's trying to work through the field. He is to the back bumper of Forbes here in turn number 3 and 4. We're side by side. Jake Nichols really maintaining on those older tires much better than I would have thought. Has not sunk like a brick in the ocean there. He has maintained up in the 5th spot. But holding things up as here comes Beckner down to the inside, trying to go 2 for 1. I saw a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, Beckner's got a really good car, but that time through on 2, really loose on corner exit. But he's trying to make the most of his fresh tires so far, or I don't know how fresh they are now, but he was the only one who could give a fair shot to Sebastian Marin. Although I say that, Zach Nichols is the leader.
Zach Nichols is the leader. Marin has finally cleared through the traffic. Now he's using that speed of that number 24 SWM.com Supra there. Simwrapmarket.com, giving that ad play right there. He is right to the back bumper, and now he is just trying to pass. Again, Loudon, not easy to pass. It's not easy to pass if the 44 is going to block the lunge line.
Yeah, Marin's going to try and find a way on the higher lane, try to generate some sort of momentum, get him set up for turn 1, but it might have to be one of those old slide jobs going into the corner and try to back up on exit for the 44 if that's the play that Marin's going to go for. But just buying his time for now. And Matt Kemp over there having a solid showing in 3rd. He's got Phil Groner up in 4th. Trying to give him a fight, and don't look too far back, but Travis Beckner's up to 5th, and he'll be closing in on this battle momentarily.
Yes, he will, as everyone's starting to get all racy. And you saw Marin have a good run down in the inside, but had to relinquish it off the corner, couldn't maintain. Speaking of not maintaining, Nichols starting to drop back, just as I said he was maintaining. Father Time on those tires never loses. There goes Brady Walleman on the flat line, and probably could have maintained that pass a little higher, so he'll have to fight further through 3 and 4. Actually, he'll fall back in line. That flat line kind of cost him there.
Oh, John Forbes Jr., that is really high over there in 3 and 4. It's so tough to try and bring that on corner exit, although he did a nice job there. Although, going to give him a good launch going into 1, but there's really not much there to benefit from. And holy cow, he's about clipping the grass there through 1 and 2. It's going to hurt him on corner exit, though.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt Walleman as well, as there was contact there off of the corner. And here comes Blaze McKinney going all the way down there to the flat as well. Can he maintain it? He is maintaining it down there, not washing up. He maintained, and actually, relatively speaking, got pretty good bite down there. As here we go for the lead once more.
Marin back to the inside. Nichols still trying to fight in that upper groove. Marin running the apron through turn 2, tight there on the exit with that tunnel wall there. Kemp and Philip Groner are nowhere to be found, so these two can battle for as long as they can. Although Marin's still going to try and get underneath the 44. It's not going to happen here with the 3 and 4.
Yeah, this is classic Loudon racing. Not what we saw on Tuesday night. I don't know what you exactly saw on Monday night, but this is classic Loudon racing. Marin is faster, but Nichols is playing really good defense. It's going to take a slip up. It's going to take a massive dive, or it's going to. But if you can run decent, you can usually hold off a guy who's significantly faster than you. And Nichols is doing a gang-up job of doing that.
He's doing it for now because they're still trying to go at it for 3rd. Philip Groner's been trying to get around Matt Kemp for over the last couple of laps because Beckner's reeling them in now. He's about 4 car lengths back from the bumper of the 11, slowly reeling them in, and Groner knows that when Beckner gets there, it's going to be a lot more of a hassle for him to hold that 4th spot.
All right, you see the lap times in that battle for 3rd. Beckner is significantly faster than who is in front of him, but it's not about being faster. It's about finding the way by, and we're 50 laps into this race. Essentially everybody at this juncture has pit except for Jake Nichols. And, you know, knock on my particle board IKEA desk here, Hunter, if this does kind of turn into that green flag run, a ton of cautions, but how far, what do you think the maximum fuel run would be of Nichols now, given that he hasn't pit, but with all these yellows?
I would probably say around 80 laps, because again, if we do keep going on this long run, you don't want to have too little time to utilize your new tires. But with as talented as Jake Nichols is, I mean, it wouldn't take long for him to navigate his way through, especially later in the runs that we go on. But here's Philip Groner trying to get around Matt Kemp, trying to clear him, and Beckner slowly but surely still reeling in this battle.
Yep, and let's see. Up front, we're still holding on to that lead is Zach Nichols, but obviously Marin is being, you know, held up now. Marin's going to feel some pressure because he knows Groner is going to be able to eat into that gap, especially if he is stuck behind the 44. So that's going to put a little bit of added pressure on Sebastian to try to make this pass on the sooner end, but 44 not slipping. He's getting the car where it needs to be, taking the air off, taking the line, but can you maintain perfection for the whole stint? That's a lot to ask.
It is a lot to ask, but for the most part, right now, he's doing somewhat of a good job. Had a little wiggle there in 3 and 4, but Marin wasn't close enough to bite along the left rear quarter panel, but still keeping close eye on that 44. Philip Groner really hasn't gained much at all. Still about the same gap, and Beckner still... He's on the bumper of Matt Kemp trying to get around him for 4th, but yeah, Marin's just running in the tire tracks for now for the 44 Zach Nichols. Maybe trying to get a little bit of a run through 3 and 4 here.
I could have swore, we'll keep the onboard telemetry up by Whiplash SimCams 1 lap longer. I could have swore I heard a blip in 3rd gear here in turns 1 and 2. Maybe I was just going and need a hearing aid here, but I'm almost certain that I heard it. It wouldn't be surprising at all if that's the case. Yep, there it goes, blipping it into 3rd, trying to get that bite off the corner. It's worthwhile if you don't burn up the rears in the process.
Yeah, a little bit of oh, hello. Not sure what Philip Groner was doing, but now Matt Kemp's rejoined the party for 3rd. It was really strange.
Yeah, well,
and meanwhile, Marin, he's got a nice run beneath the 44.
Yeah, we'll go back to live footage here, because as soon as I cut away, something happens. He got a good run, but now he's on the flat, and these older tires can't maintain the flat, so it's all for naught. He's going to have to get more aggressive.
Philip Groner had a moment coming out of 2. I'm not sure what he did, but it's going to cost him 3rd. Maybe 4th as well, because Kemp's trying to get around him. Beckner is trying to get around both of them. I really think when Beckner gets around both these guys, it's going to open the floodgates for...
I think I may have it queued up here. Or do I? I'm trying to see if I can pull it up here. Oh, yeah, right off of 2. No. Thought I had it queued up. I guess not. But either way, something happened, and it has since caused them to still battle side by side. We saw briefly up front for a moment that Sebastian was door-to-door, but again, Nichols playing that prime defense there, playing that 2004 Detroit Pistons defense, locked down and can't let that 24 by. It stunted him in every different maneuver. Can't go high, can't go low, even getting his air off down on the flat there. Can't ask much more out of that 44.
Yeah, just don't have another Malice at the Palisades, and especially at a racetrack.
Somebody who gets a basketball reference.
I get it. How could you not? Just don't want that car going in the fence. Don't want him getting entangled with the fine people here of New Hampshire, which, by the way, shout out to Ryan Hartz. This is his home track. He was very good here in area. Miss him dearly. Hopefully he can come back. He's really good on these short tracks. Whoa! A little bit of contact there. That's the type of racing Ryan Hartz likes, the former area driver. But Matt Kemp trying to hold on to that baby, and well, he's going to fall back to 5th now, but F51 still holding strong.
You're not supposed to see the passenger side numbers on a straight cam, but we did there. That's how sideways Matt Kemp was off 4. That'll make those rear tires mad, and I don't know if they'll ever recover, but we're still 2-3 wide, slicing and dicing here in the back of the field towards the mid-teens here. Michael Venable, he was one of the drivers who pit but didn't actually pit, so he's still on his OG tires. He's back to 17th. There goes Zach Kerr. I think Zach had some incident repairs and was a lap down and has since got on the lead lap, trying to slice and dice his way through the field, so not giving up.
He's going to have to try and do it cleanly, though. He got 2 incident points for that lap 1 or lap 2 yellow. It was the first yellow of the race he was at fault for, so 2 incident points there. He's got to keep it clean for the rest of this race if he wants to go into next week without digging himself into a deep hole. But Blaze McKinney, he's still trying to fight on that bottom. It's worked for him relatively fine for the most part. He's still inside the top 10. John Forbes Jr. going to have a look underneath Wildman in the 39 for 7th in the 3.
Yeah, it seems more and more as this race continues, people are finding confidence to run that lane. Not sure if they just didn't expect it to work. Not sure if it's the main groove is heating up and they're just trying to find that, that grip in that lesser used pavement. And we know how that dynamic track model works, but there goes the 17 high up the track, slides up high, and let's go 3 wide off of 2 here for about the 7th, 8th, 9th spot.
Yeah, a little bit of a side draft there for the 39 of Wildman. Going beneath the 17. Meanwhile, Jake Nichols is just he's seeing this unfold right behind him. He's a little too close for comfort for that. He's the 39 Wildman still trying to find his way in line, and now will be to the inside of Jake Nichols. Here comes John Forbes Jr.
He's trying to do the diver, and he'll clear. Will Nichols be able to cross over? I think those older tires just don't have the sticky in them to make that thing cross over the way he would have liked it to, and he'll fall back in line and hope that McKinney down there can keep that inside lane maintained. He's washing up there, but he will actually clear the 73 as well. And then who's that down, that red car down to the inside? That's Brady Wallman there. He is under fire from Scioli.
Yeah, the 7, he's hanging on to that top 10 for the most part. It's really tight with him, Wallman in the 39, and then mentioned the 73, Jake Nichols. He really doesn't have much to work with tire-wise. He has yet to pit. I think everyone in this race has made a pit stop beside that 73, so whenever he does pit, those new tires, it's going to be insane how fast they'll be.
And then hesitate, do I say, up front, is Nichols starting to pull away a little bit on that 24 as he wore out the 24's tires at this point, or did Sebastian just have a bad lap trying to overstep? Well, I guess we'll kind of find out if that continues to drop or if Nichols allows him to get right back to the back bumper, and it looks like it may be option 2.
Yeah, I think Mariners just trying to send in as much as he can to try and get close enough to Zach Nichols. He's still trying to throw him off, but it's not working for the most part. He's still just hanging tough there, trying to generate a run on that bottom. But
he might have it.
Oh, he almost had it there.
If that wall was about a foot further in, I think he would have had the bite to be able to make that work here. As math is going to absolutely kill me on this one. I'll take someone's calculator skills. What's 135 divided by 2? As we are closing in on the halfway mark, and that was a very unorthodox line from Marin that time by in 4.
We're right around that. We're about a lap or 2 from that.
So that being said, we can talk about our halfway sponsors here today. The High Banks Podcast, two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 228. I think we're still waiting on episode 229. But listen to 228 with Jacob Bell, available on Spotify. I don't know if they haven't updated it or if they do monthly ones, but yeah, we're still waiting on 229 because that has been there. But either way, take an eye on the High Banks podcast. I think we are essentially past the halfway point at this point, or it might be 68. I don't know. Math is hard, folks. PTR TV math has never been our forte here, but I think this maybe this time by. Matt Kemp all the way down on the flat line. This is for 5th. Beckner up to 4th. Again, had that penalty. I think he went a lap down or very near to it. And here he is more or less where he was. Unfortunately, he still has 4 seconds to go and no guaranteed cautions. And I imagine we're still going to have at least one more caution, but things have, dare I say, normalized out a little bit here at Loudon.
We've got a nice, good green flag run going about halfway through this race. So it's been very interesting. I mean, Travis Beckner has been up as high as second, or he had the lead at one point, but I don't think he's led a lap yet. Then he had that restart penalty and had to fight his way from the back to the front, recovered nicely inside that top 5. Meanwhile, we all thought that Sebastian Marin was going to be the car to beat. Turns out it's actually the 44 of Zach Nichols. He's taken the heat to him, trying to become the 3rd different winner this season. A little further back, this is right around the 10th area.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Okresic once here today. He started 45th. So far back, he wasn't even in the field, and he's up to 10th now, washed up the track a little bit into Brady Walleman there, but that'll put him exactly in that 10th spot, so a good little charge effort. David Weishart working his way through the field here as well. He is up to the 14th spot. He started 26th on the day. He has that 71 rate in his front windshield. And then Nate Stewart, wasn't he near, if not upside down, earlier in the event? I think he was
near upside down.
It wasn't him. He was in something here today, but I don't know.
He was spun around. There was the 5 of Grant that got into him, and then there was also the 5 of Grant that sent the 8 of Slaughter upside down.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think our list of who hasn't been in an incident is probably shorter than who has been. But again, this carbon fiber body on this Xfinity car, a lot of cautions to make these repairs, and a lot of these guys are still active and running and salvaging some pretty good runs here. But Blaze McKinney really making that flat work. He has been the one to stay down there, and he has it. You can even see the rubber line building up down there. He's been using it so much, and everybody's slideways off of 2.
Indeed, as I feel a sneeze coming, but the 87 of McKinney, he's been the only one to kind of make that apron groove work. Dare I say bottom groove. That is about as low as you can go. And he's actually reeled in Travis Beckner. Seems like the tires are fading away on that 27. The longest run we've had of the day so far. He's actually going to be close to a 3-wide pickle between McKinney and John Forbes Jr. Talk about having a solid run. That 17 sideways off 2, but he's still making progress throughout the field.
Yep, and we are really going to have to start focusing on our number 73 of Jake Nichols, because remember, he has yet to come to the attention of his crew at all, and he's hitting that time in the race where the tires are going to start, well, they've already given up, but the fuel load start giving up probably in about 10-15 laps, and at that point, let's take a look here on our ticker. We'll switch it on over for you guys. That is our lap times. You can see who is running what, but more importantly, stint. When Nichols comes in, does that pull everybody else in as well?
I would say so. I'm pretty sure Nichols thought that this was going to go caution fest, but the green flag run has just kicked in as soon as everyone decided to do the opposite of what Nichols did. So will be interesting to see how that goes, because I think if this does go green to the end, Nichols will be in a bad spot. And I think that was David Weishart just coming out of pit road.
Who do we have? We have Matthew Batby in the pits as well. Braxton DeWeese. He has already pit. Venable has just come out of the pits as well. Looks like we'll leave the stint graphic on the screen here for the short term. You can see who has been into the pits, but yeah, it looks as though that the back end of the field is starting to come into the pits here. Actually, I've read the wrong graphic, but someone's peeling it. Yep, here is Weishart. So right around lap 75, 60 to go. That's a decent sized split there. That's probably a lap that I think more guys will start coming down.
Indeed, as gap has grown a bit between the 44 and the 24. Zach Nichols still leading through. Sebastian Marin in second. It's been about that much, 3 to 4 car lengths separating the front 2. Marin really hasn't let the 44 out of his sights just yet. I mean, it's about as far away as he's been, but compared to everyone else, they're almost 5 seconds ahead of Philip Groner in the 11, who we thought was going to fade. Turns out it's actually Travis Beckner that's fading, as sideways as that 11 was. He's holding his own in third. Matt Kemp solid in fourth, and McKinney still trying to get around Beckner for fifth.
Yeah, there's the gap. It looks like, if you wonder what 5 seconds is at Loudon, it's basically an entire straightaway, as you can see from that camera, 4.5 seconds. And if you could correct me on this, because memory is not something that I'm amazing with, as save it. He saved it. A little bit of contact from Forbes to Beckner. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but either way, it made the pass But if I remember right from Homestead, I feel like Beckner also struggled on the long run there. Might not be in his forte this season.
It's not yet. It's still only 3 races in, but yeah, he's trying to hang on there. I think he used up his stuff a little bit too soon. Meanwhile, Connor Okrezik, he's done it just right. He's saved enough, and he is taking it to Beckner and trying to take it to Skylerly as well, trying to get a 2-for-1 here. But on that bottom lane, it's difficult, but he saved the tires up pretty nicely. And that 7, kind of shocked we haven't seen him inside the top 5. Has qualified up there, but throughout the race, he's been around the back half of the top 10 most of the time.
And I know we saw Marin dip it into 3rd here once he got into that low speed range, but Okrezik's keeping it in 4th. He got down to as low as 87 miles an hour, and at that point in the race, at that point in the lap, I know we saw Marin dip into 3rd, but really struggling there that lap anyways. That allows Beckner to kind of maintain, but never mind. He'll fall back into line, move Okrezik up into the 7th spot, and get up front, not missing anything, 0.2 of a second, and we're actually starting to catch the back end of the field here. Or at least a couple cars anyways.
Lap traffic starting to play a little bit of a factor in it. Some of these guys were caught up in incidents earlier in the going, like Greg Mitchell in the 2. His race got derailed really when he got tapped and sent into the turn 2 wall like a pinball. It was really violent, but he is about to get a lap down now.
And he just had terrible luck. Remember, he just got completely blindsided running his own race there, and he's damaged on each side. But there he goes by, going another lap down. We got Zach Kerr, the Aussie. I'm not sure who is the passer and the passee in this situation, but they are battling Nate Stewart and himself. And is that the 39? Welleman coming to the pits right now.
Yeah, so bit by bit, these guys are coming down pit road, and I think Jake Nichols has come down pit road as well. I don't see him inside the top 15 at all.
Yeah, he is in the 30th spot. Let's take a gander, not outdoors, of when he pit 3 laps ago. So, again, at this point, everybody still needs to make 1 pit stop. So, if one of the fast guys pits, I mean, may as well make that decision if you want to join him as well.
Still running there in that outside lane. And I mean, look at him slicing and dicing his way through. This is the really tricky part about this, because these guys are still on the lead lap. They're still fighting for position. But then again, Jake Nichols, freshest tires out of these guys, trying to make the most of it. Matthew Bappy, again, he's the only one that's running all the way up near the wall in 3 and 4.
And we're just waiting on our leaders to come in. They are about to pass the 93 car. Is that? Yes, it is. That number 3 of Joseph Berg going a 2nd lap down. A couple guys just in the mirror. And again, this gap growing almost 6 seconds back to 3rd. You see, eventually one of these guys going to be pitting soon. We're 50 laps in. They probably have like 30 more, but now you have to wonder, Jake Nichols, depending how this goes, I mean, he could be in a really good spot if this thing goes green and we get that perfectly timed caution. You never quite know how these can play out.
Yeah, it's all about timing, and if that yellow is going to come out, which...
who's that? 07.
Car went into grass. Was that Venable? No, 07.
07 in the pits. That is Reese Schaefer. He's been running at about the mid-teens. He will come to the attention of his crew. So just waiting and waiting for more and more to make that decision to head down into their stalls here for what could be the final stall. Plenty of good years in the pits if they make the decisions to. But at this point, this thing has really, really spaced out. And Nichols still running that pace, leading the pack over Merritt. Led 52 laps when we thought he was going to get swallowed up in about 5. And here he is running about 52 of them.
Yeah, he's really put on a show here throughout the evening so far, and he's kept a sizable gap between himself and, a little tricky there with Senesac the lap car, but he's kept a sizable gap between himself and Sebastian Marin. Like, he hasn't gone out too far as Beckner's coming down pit road. Some more guys inside the top 10 making their way on.
Yeah, he is the Lone Ranger this time by, but this is certainly going to be a call that I think everybody in the top 5 has to watch out for, because he is thus far the highest to make that decision. Oh, Marin, that's a pretty decent bit of contact in the wall. I don't think the car will be damaged by it, but certainly that was a little bit more than a kiss to the fence there.
Yeah, just a smooch. Nothing major.
A little grandma peck on the cheek, maybe. I'd say a little bit more than that, but thus far he's maintaining that same gap that we would expect him to have. Ed Shearer in that number 6 car. He has found the attention of his crew. Here, lap number 87. So I think everybody's pushing the boundaries. They're just, you want to have as much tire for as few laps as possible to end this thing out. Who is that? One of those, someone's coming to the attention of their crew, one of those bright green cars. That is...
It's Senesac.
Yeah, it looks like him. He's coming to the attention of his crew here. And we're still waiting for these leaders. Now we're about 47 laps to go here at New Hampshire. Scioli in the pits. Here we go with Zach Kerr. We just mentioned him. Garrett Grant.
I think he's been on pit road for quite some time. Hello, this is a little gaggle here.
I think Krezek made us hit the wall. Here comes Jonathan Evans. He's running in the top 10. He comes to the attention of his crew this time by. So just a matter of time before it pulls our leaders into. And again, just look at that gap, second to third, now over 7 seconds. Absolutely astonishing. Now up front, Hunter, do you want, of the top 2, who wants to draw first blood? Would you rather be Nichols a draw first blood, or would you rather be Marin and draw first blood? If you were one of these two, which one would you rather be in regards to pitting first?
I think Marin would probably pit first. Try to force his hand, see if the 44 will come down immediately after him. If not, then he just knows that he'll be in a better spot on the track. And also, don't want to overslide your pit box. Don't want to speed in your entry or exit. So want to make sure that everything is timed perfect. So if you're the first one to do that, I think you're not going to have that much of a hassle to try and stay in front of the other guy.
Lacadis in the pits, Groner in the pits this time by lap number 90 as Zach Nichols getting by, unlapping himself here. Remember, he pitted at this juncture. How long has he been on this set of tires for? He's been out there for ages, what feels like ages, 13 laps. And the leaders are still on the track. So now he is on the lead lap. And I can tell you as reference there, and I know you have this back end data too, the pit lane time here at Loudon is about 38 seconds for 4 tires and fuel. So basic mathematics would say that Jake Nichols might be leading this thing by about 10 seconds once the leaders pit.
Yeah. I don't know how long that 10 seconds is going to last. So Krezik's down pit road, because if this does go green to the end, I mean, Nichols will be in a good spot waiting for a yellow to come out. But if it goes green to the end, he might be a sitting duck compared to Zach Nichols and Marin, who are going to pit later.
Yeah, and obviously there is a point in the run where the tires do even out. And, you're gaining a second a lap, and then you're gaining 6 tenths, 4 tenths, and they kind of stabilize out. But you don't know when that time is going to come and if you're going to be able to maintain things. Nate Stewart coming to the attention of his crew, and again, these leaders, and I think this is going to be the lap for Marin. It is. He's getting everything he can get as he gets down to pit road speed.
Yep, played it exactly right. That's what I would do. I would have pit early, so don't have to worry about speeding or sliding in. And now Zach Nichols is going to have to worry a little bit about how much time he's going to lose. I would assume he'd pit this time through, but he's going to be in a little bit of a rush to try and get out and stay in front of Marin.
Yeah, he has no choice, and he hasn't run the flat at all, and trying to get down. I'm going to say he was a little bit more cautious than Marin was there, and we'll see how that equals things out over the course of the run. Getting past halfway, we'll talk about Elite Entertainment very quickly while this shakes out. Elite Entertainment brings some life to the party with them this spring. Located in Boiler Spring, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. And linktree.com/Elite Entertainment. You can check out them in the description of the video. But Matt Kemp has acquired the lead. Again, we're all just waiting to see how this shakes out. Between Marin, between Zach Nichols, and ultimately between Jake Nichols. There's Jake.
And there is Marin. That's not too far back.
Well, not at all. That is not 10 seconds. Again, we haven't shooken out to the final likings of how this is going to be, but there's Marin off of 4. And I'd say roughly 2 to 3 seconds behind him is Zach Nichols. So that one lap on the track cost him, roughly 2 to 3 seconds. And we know that he doesn't have the short run pace. And is Marin going to come back to him? I think that might be a little bit too much to ask, but you never quite know.
You never know. We could get a yellow to spice things up, and then that would really shake everything up between those guys and then John Forbes Jr., who, by the way, has yet to finish inside the top 10 at all this season, but could be in a good spot to do so. But Matt Kemp is bringing it on down pit road, and there is the leader of John Forbes Jr.
We'll take a look who has yet to pit. You can see those guys about the top 5. Forbes, Falliker, Brown, Cocker, and Hamilton all have yet to see the pits. And then you can see the variation of pit strategies. 17-lap delta between Marin and Nichols on those tires. As we said, Nichols needs a caution. And on my bingo card, I'm still banking on one to come out. It's just at the rate we're going. I mean, I'm seeing good racing. I'm seeing a lot of, aggressive moves as here comes Forbes down. But it's just hard to say if he got to speed, but it's hard to say that this thing can go green the whole time, but it very well could.
Yeah, I mean, the only time we were here back in season 3, it did go into overtime, and even then, that was when we only had 1 overtime attempt, so that race did end under yellow, but unlimited attempts here if we do ever get to that realm, so won't have to worry about that. But Brody Falliker now taking over as the leader. Again, a bonus point for leading the lap, and here's the 7 of Scioli. He's cycled out quite nicely. He'll be 5th whenever everyone does pit in front of the top, or when the top 4 do come down pit road.
To go back here, the Nichols, not brothers, but, Zach up in the 6th spot. 7th is Jake. So obviously Jake is going to struggle there on those older tires. We go back to Beckner. He is in the 8th spot. And again, we had about a 7-second delta between Sebastian and Zach and the rest of the field. So that has kind of shown itself here in what we see with some of these intervals as we wait for this to fully shake out here. Here comes Zach trying to pass some of those guys still yet to pit that will be well over a lap down. But again, you can see here he is still going to have a lot of work to do to get to Sebastian. That there of about a second. And here comes Brody into the pits right now, so that'll shake one of them out. And I think finally we have just Jeremy Brown. He's the only one in the mix here that is shaking up the shuffle here. And yes, we'll have about a 1.2 second gap between Zach and Sebastian here for the last 34 laps.
Finally crossed that lap 100 threshold. The rest of the guys coming down pit road in the back there, but Marin's going to have about 1.2 seconds to work with for the last 30 laps or so. That's if we stay green. There is a possibility for a late caution at any given moment. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out indeed. And another thing to reference here on the evening, especially if you're watching this on Twitch, you have easy access to it. But the shop.areairacing.com. Race fans, you can shop shop.areairacing.com for high quality merchandise at low prices. Shop from over 100 selections of t-shirts, hats, champion brand clothing, and more area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, and better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com, again in the description of this video. There goes Barron getting by. I think that's Ed Robertson there. Remember, he was involved in an incident of sorts earlier in the event. And that gap, I mean, I don't know if it was because of getting by the lapper. I mean, it was 1.3. Now it's about 1.1. If Nichols can get by these guys and maintain, I mean, maybe he is faster than we were giving him credit for. Maybe it's not all defense. Maybe he actually can, eat into this deficit.
Well, there is dirty air now for the 24 of Marin, which I don't believe he had. At least leading for the most part. He was behind Nichols for that time being, but Yeah, Nichols still has to work his way around 2 lap cars. I think he's going to get through 1 just fine here into turn 1, but yeah, we'll see if it's just the lap cars that were doing that or if it's just raw pace from the 44.
Still time to be had here as 30 laps to go. Here comes Connor O'Kresick looking to the inside of Brady Wallman there, that number 39, and doing a little mini Loudon lunge there of sorts is O'Kresick, and he will clear by a whisker off a 2. Tried to set up a crossover, did Brady, but chooses to fall back in line. Let's do a little bit of a race recap here at this juncture in the race, past the century mark. 30 laps to go. We've equipped ourselves with 6 cautions. Felt like more, but it's because they were all early in the event. We've run green for quite some distance here. 6 leaders, 8 lead changes, and Zach Nichols, fastest lap of the race at a 30.77.
Yeah, he's been quick all day, but he's in a tough spot right now with laps dwindling down. Although I say that now, it's about right around a second, so he's still closing the gap down bit by bit, but will he have enough time to work his way around Marin? I mean, we saw for quite some time Marin could get to Nichols when he was trailing, but had to figure out a way to get around him. And I mean, tried his best, but it's just so difficult whenever you're mirror driving. So can only imagine what Marin's going to do mirror driving the 44.
Yeah, we got some good racing here in the mid-teens at this point. Blaze McKinney, he was running a lot higher than this. He is relegated back to the 15th spot. He was our apron guy earlier in the race, and he still is our apron guy because look at him maintaining that line, but he's going to drift up onto the actual racing surface, diamond back to the inside of that number 61 of Daniel Day, who is currently in the 14th spot and kissing the safer Armco here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. But as you talked about, going back up front, there goes Marin losing a, not a position of sorts, but Brady Falliker unlapping himself. That puts some more dirty air onto the front nose of that 24, and just look at that gap. Nichols has 1 lap fresher tires, and it was 1 second. It's been halved at about 3 laps.
Yeah, that's it's a bit surprising. I didn't think it would close up that quick, but it obviously seems like Marin's under a little more stress than the 44 of Zach Nichols, and he's been reeling them in. Was 0.3 quicker that time through. We'll see what the lap times are now, but yeah, Marin's got a handful at the moment.
As they update a 53 to a 46, so obviously not as bad because he was getting passed, but still in the deficit. But if anything, it turns into role reversal. We saw how great of defense that Zach was playing on Sebastian for essentially that entire stint. Now, if it does come down to it, Sebastian's going to get to, reciprocate it and try to play defense here as we hit some more significant lap traffic. Of course, we're recatching the 1, but you can see here on the front shot here, that is the field. That is actual competition from about 28th, 30th guys on the lead lap, and we're going to catch them, and that will certainly play a factor in the finish.
Yeah, that's a lot of lap traffic. I mean, they're 3 wide in front of the leader. I mean, that's further down the straightaway, but they're 3 wide. You can only imagine what's going through Marin's mind. Like, this cannot be happening to me right now.
Yeah, David Weishart, he, I don't know what happened to him. He was back, we talked about him getting in the top 15. Now he's in the 30th spot, so something happened to him as here come the leaders catching them right here. Marin is just stuck. He has nowhere to go, and it brings you shades of Martinsville here as the leader gets stuck in traffic. It just equalizes that gap out instantly. 4/10, 3/10. Now Nichols just sees the opportunity, and he's going to send it on in there into 3, hoping that Weishart gives him the light of day to not have to fight for the spot so he can get to the back bumper.
Yeah, this is like an elongated Martinsville. It's very similar, long straights, tight turns, low banking. So not really much to work with, but Marin, yeah, he's got a lot in the front of his windshield, and Nichols loving what he's seeing, eating it up, closing that gap. I mean, they're door to door right now in front of the leader.
Now he's stuck. That's Bell. That's Jeremy Miller. He's literally stuck. He's stuck behind the screen right here, and he saw the pick, did the 44, and he said, I'm going to run this pick and roll here. It couldn't quite make the move, but he's right to the rear bumper. There goes Bell alongside Merritt here. Is the lapper etiquette going to take place at this late in the race? Kind of It seems like it is, but the lappers still want to be in that lucky dog spot. Looks like the etiquette is coming into play, or is it? Because Bell did make him fight for it. In the fence hard! Is that the dagger?
Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. So I'm not sure if that's going to... I would assume that would affect the 44 a lot, but that was pretty significant contact with that outside wall.
See what happened. Yeah, it's hard to say. I didn't really see like a hospital wobble, as we like to call it. But I didn't really see him. He just kind of drove it up the track. Didn't really seem like he had to correct it. As we let's try to get the good zoom in cam here. You can't really see any visible damage, which, damage model graphical limitations. But even if it's not visual, depending how the wheel hit the wall, it could have caused a little bit of toe out damage there. But still maintaining a steady pace. Let's take a look on the battle graphic again. Once the lap time difference really hasn't lost a beat there. Just about even last time by.
Yeah, Nichols probably just preserving the car that time through. But, I mean, there's nothing between him and that 44 now, so we'll see if we'll see if Merrick can pull away from the 44. Meanwhile, Blaze McKinney here, he was the apron guy. Now he's the third lane guy, still trying to move up and get back inside the top 10. You got John Forbes Jr. and Zach Kerr up in front of him. Kerr's a little bit further down the road, but kept it clean for the most part after that lap one incident, and he really needed to, so good on Zach Kerr for doing that.
And here comes Philip Groner. He was about third or fourth, but now he is in sixth spot, trying to get by the 73 of Jake Nichols, who, remember, he is on aging tires. He desperately needs a caution. Connor Okresic in seventh, and he sniffs the sixth spot, and he very well may have the ability to get it here. If he can get by that 11, they'll wash Jake up the track. And then who is that just behind? It's not quite Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp's a little bit further back. That's Mitchell. Greg Mitchell. He is well off the pace here. A little bit further up, Beckner and Jonathan Evans, highest he's been here on the day. Look at him, top 5 and going for more.
It's been a very quiet day for that 26 car, and pretty solid showing for him right now. Beckner, we mentioned him before. He's had the fight. He's had to claw his way back inside the top 5. So he's looking on that outside there. This is for the 4th position. He's still might have bounced off the wall a little bit there, but he's still giving a fight to the 26.
Hear them in third gear, trying to get the bite down. You want to put that extra 1% of throttle down to try to get the run that you need, but if you do that, you're going to be succumb to that wheel spin. And you can see there on some of these shots here, starting to get a little bit of marble buildup out of the groove. Got to watch how high you put that car. Keep that grip at bay here at Loudon. But as we just kind of focus on things, as we somehow are down to 15 laps to go. Sebastian in some heavy lap traffic. That is raising the gap, as Zach is not shuffling through it as well as the 24 did.
And that damage from the wall probably had to do something with that. I mean, there's now 5 lap cars in between first place and second place. Gap's at about a second right now, so Nichols going to have to rely on a yellow to kind of get himself back into this one.
Yeah, he's going to have to wait on a yellow, and I mean, it could happen. There's still people fighting for positions and going all at it, but thus far, I mean, I don't know. I don't have the exact details in front of me of how long this green flag run has gone, but I'm going to imagine it's been at least 70 laps. Probably lap 40. I think the cautions have died, and 40 or 50 or something, and we have just gone all the way and really had a good showing here. Here comes Okresic. He's in 7th, going for 6th, doing a Loudon lunge all the way down to the bottom, sliding on up. Here comes the Allen Iverson crossover for Groner down to the flat, trying to see if he can maintain some momentum, preserve that position down the front, and he will. He'll go door to door into 1.
Yeah, good battle right outside the top 5, which a little further in front of the road, still going on. Evans there in front of Beckner, back behind them. It's still Okresic trying to clear, and he will clear Philip Groner for the 6th position.
Yep, and then quietly in 3rd. Remember, it was Groner in 3rd prior to the pit stops, but post pit stops, James Scioli has taken that spot. He started 2nd, really hasn't run 2nd most of the race, but has got his way back up into the top 5, and you could just see that gap first to second, rather in second to third. 11 seconds. That's a third of a lap here. The difference between the top 2 have just been in their own zip code.
Marin's in a little bit of a further zip code. That gap's increased now to 1.4. Still, oh, there's a bit of lap traffic just in front of him, and yeah, I don't even want to picture having to go through that. So he's still pulling on Zach Nichols, and everybody else going to have to rely on a caution. We mentioned about how quiet Skyli's been, haven't been inside the top 5 for the majority of the race, except for the start. He's running third right now, so it seems like the pit stop sequence has worked out well for him. Evans is about 9/10 of a second back from him, so don't know if he'll have enough time to chase him down for third, but solid showing so far for the 7 in the late going.
I can see here on the ticker to switch it over. This gives you a reference to everybody's tire situation. And caution! And the old verbiage of Larry Mack, that changes everything.
Oh boy.
Brady Walleman into the wall, man. Whoa.
Oh no. That was the 61.
Yeah, Daniel Day that was. So kind of scope back a little bit here if we can. 61. Back of the shot here. Yeah, that was apron gone bad. Try to see if I can cue that up from Daniel's perspective real quick. Wow, I mean, I don't really have words for that one, but that was what happened. We'll see how admin feels, judges that one in the books, but
+2 to the 61.
And here we come for the most important pit stops of the day. I mean, strategy can't really exist here. I can't see anybody being able to pull any strategy off here with 2 tires. I mean, we've been out too long, but you never know what someone will try to gain some track position. But let's see what happens. 4 tires and fuel is what we expect. We'll see those box times.
If you're running like back half of the top 10 or even outside of that, might as well be worth the chance or worth the shot to give yourself the chance of getting a better finish.
Let's see, 4 tires. There goes Marin exiting the pits. Whereas Zach Nichols, he will get second. And everybody behind him, you can see this. That was the gap that they had on the field. The amount of space they had, it was almost impossible for them not to come out 1 and 2 with how much gap they had over the field.
Yeah, there's the 50 of Lakatos. He didn't pit, but he, or did he pit? I don't think he did. I think he was just trying to cycle through.
According to the graphic, he pit, but no, he didn't pit. It still says 37 laps since his last stall, so he did stay out, but it looks as though he has full intent to come this time by, and I'm showing 1 to go on the ticker. Am I showing 1 to go in reality? That would be a rather rushed caution if so, but it seems as though that's the case. We're getting our racing in here today.
Yeah, this is a little bit new, so
yeah, we got a lot of people rushing to, wave arounds. We got a lot of wave arounds here rushing to get back on the lead lap, and whether they get back in proper order for the green is to be determined here. You can see they're not even off of turn number 2 yet. Here we are into 3 getting ready for this. So this might be, I don't know if anybody remembers Kyle Busch at the Bud Shootout back in the day with a head start restart. I don't know if that's going to happen, but either way, will this be the final restart? 7 laps to go, fresh tires. Top 2 have been very equal all day into the Geico restart zone, and let's get it going. Let's see, a huge jump by Marin.
Yeah, and there's the rest of the field still trying to get their way back, but Marin, fresh tires and all, he's got the track position, trying to keep Zach Nichols at bay. Meanwhile, they're pretty much 4 wide in turn 2. Crazy racing to see down the back.
Yeah, everybody knows they have to go at it. This is money time here at the Magic Mile, and 0.2 of a second is the preliminary gap by the number 24. Does the 44 have the pace? Are we just about 5 wide for second? There's no way we're going to be able to finish this thing out, but let's see if we can. They're going absolutely bonkers behind the leaders.
Yeah, this is for 4th. Evans trying to hold on to that. Now 5th up for grabs between Beckner and Kemp. Okrezik, Philip Groner, John Forbes Jr. They're all in the mix in that top 10 position. And then there's Sean Furness in the back, making it 3 wide in the 3.
But not using that apron line. Everyone staying on the track, kind of maintaining a normal Loudon lane here. Hard in the fence is Okrezik. That causes a domino effect. Groner had to go quite low to evade, but everybody reacts appropriately, and they're still 3 wide here, as it looks like the 24 up front is starting to inch out.
Yeah, half a second between himself and Zach Nichols. Meanwhile, Forbes Jr. sideways off corner exit, still keeping it tough with the 11 of Philip Groner. That's for the 8th position on track. Again, Forbes Jr., no top 10s yet this season, trying to get his first one. And he's got Jake Nichols hounding his bumper as well.
Yeah, they're going at it. Some guys still kissing that turn 4 safer barrier here as the laps tick down. 4 laps to go. The gap up front is shrinking slowly. It's going to take a pretty big mistake by Marin to lose this one. But thus far, he is hanging on to it. Scioli's still in 3rd, and we just await to see if anything happens here in the next 3 laps. Remember, if we get to the white, we'll finish it under green, but anything that happens prior to that white flag, we'll rack them and stack them.
They've been awfully close back there. Some of those guys flirting with the outside wall and corner exit, but there you see battle right around 6th. That's Matt Kemp on the outside. Okrezik still down low. He doesn't want to get near that outside wall again. Things are starting to get a little more spaced out inside the top 10.
Yeah, I think that restart that included all of the wave arounds being a little bit late to the grid, I think it kind of calm things down enough where we didn't have the huge bundle of 30 cars. I completely evade that thought. Trying to see here, there's no obvious mishap on the back end telemetry here. Try to scour through. There was nothing blatantly obvious that I saw. We're just scrolling through here. Oh, there it is, 78 car.
Yeah, Michael Muhammad in the 78 got spun around on the back stretch, so he got 2 incident points for that yellow as well. Oh, I think that's Jeremy Miller behind him that might have had a little bit of help with that.
Let's see. No, he lost it on his own. Can of Dr. Pepper might have to sit for a little bit because it's a little bit fizzy.
I don't even want to touch Dr. Pepper at the moment. Or in general. But this does mean we go into overtime, and I misspoke earlier. We do not have unlimited green white checker attempts. We only have 3.
Yep, and there were a fair amount of individuals who did take to the pits, but that is all about 18th on back, so that shouldn't have any bearings on what goes on up front. We do have to remember there was 1 restart in this race that did allow Sebastian Marin to lose the lead, at least temporarily. Travis Beckner got a good restart, a phenomenal restart, so good of a restart, in fact, that it penalized him. So other than that, Marin has been perfect on the jump. Nichols has to time something where he can stay at least in send-it range, but it's just so hard as that outside car to time it perfectly without being too good.
Yeah, I don't want to be too good at it, but yeah, so that'll be interesting because I don't know if we're going to see that again, because that might be a warning for Marin going super late in the box, creating another stack up. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think we see that again. I think we see him try to just go as soon as possible, just try to build a big enough gap between himself and the cars behind.
Yeah, send it range is obviously about usually 2 car lengths, as we can see a couple more wave arounds at play. But on top of send it range, you have the Loudon lunge. So he's going to probably have to block the bottom. And depending how good he runs down there, maybe that allows someone to get a bite on the outside lane. So a lot of different maneuvers, a lot of different things that you can do here. But it all boils down to this initial restart, and then don't count out that number 7. Sometimes the 3rd place car is the best place to start here on one of these restarts. Maybe Scioli has something up his sleeve.
Yeah, Scioli is fourth in the standings after a rocky, well, I shouldn't even say rocky start. He finished top 5 at Daytona. He finished just outside the top 10 last week in Homestead, but he's looking to get his first win of the season. That would be phenomenal for him. You mentioned Zach Nichols still looking for his first win of the season too.
Something's going on with that flag there. Not sure what's going on with that, but that is of minimal significance here as we do get the 1 to green. We'll double up, stack up, and get ready to go back green flag racing here for our first of 3 potential green-white checkers. Remember, if we do get to the white, we will get to the checkers. If we do not get to the white, well, we'll try one more again and see if we can get them racked and stacked here, as we'll probably finish on about 141 laps, barring some more issues.
Yeah, it'll be a fun restart seeing how these guys try to send it in the 1 and 2. I mean, there's stuff going on in the back there. I'm not sure what's going on, but guys trying to get their jitters out, I suppose.
Yeah, some oddities at play here, but we'll come through 3 and 4 here and enter that Geico/Echo Park restart zone. And let's see who is going to win the Florida State Builders Pro Series race here at New Hampshire. Another phenomenal jump to the number 24. Can Nichols clear into 1, clear Scioli? He can, but can the rest of them make it through is the question.
Oh, they were already fanning out 3 deep before corner entry, and Nichols actually gets loose there. He's getting hit from behind. They're door slamming each other coming down the backstretch, and it's all just a matter of time to get to the white flag for Sebastian Marin.
What in the world is this gaggle of cars? But coming off of turn number 4, we have to make it to this stripe right here. If we make it to the granite stripe, we make it to the finish, this thing's going to finish under green.
And 1 more lap from the Magic Mile in New Hampshire. Lots of 3 and 4 wide action behind race leader Sebastian Marin. He's got to work through the backstretch and a couple more corners for the final time.
As we are trying everything to wreck 05, and Nate Stewart hard licked to the inside wall, but Nate Stewart, he was not going to be in the race here. The 24, Sebastian Marin, dominated at Homestead, had the fastest car. Nichols played some good defense, but some good restarts, put him in victory lane. Marin wins here at Loudon.
And Travis Beckner tried to rough up Zach Nichols a little bit, tried to rattle his cage to get second, but instead he comes home third. Zach Nichols going to come home second. And it looks like Scioli's going to wound up with a top 5 after all. And we are still, I have a feeling some guys are not going to go home happy after this one. But someone who will go home happy is that number 24 of Sebastian Marin, getting a little door tap congratulatory there from Forbes. There's another one from, I believe, is that's number 42. Everyone's saying congrats. Back-to-back wins for that number 24, showing that he is one to be made of here in the 2025 season. He gained the points lead after last week's win at Homestead. Would imagine that's going to increase, but not by much, because second in points is Zach Nichols. And
he's trying to make sure he passes inspection there, kind of hitting the wall.
Yeah, that's a interesting tactic there. We'll just turn a blind eye for that. But back-to-back for Sebastian Marin in the 24.
And of course, our victory celebrations here brought to you by Victory Fuel. Celebrate tonight's win with Victory Fuel. Choose from caffeine-free flavors like Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, or Lucky Lemon. Each can is packed with electrolytes, charged with vitamins, and kid-friendly. Get 10% off your order with Area iRacing at checkout. But let's start our post-race show here on the evening. Let you know where your favorite driver wrapped up here tonight. Getting the win here today by a final margin of 0.8 of a second is Sebastian Marin over Zach Nichols. Travis Beckner, up and down day, still ends up on the podium with a third. James Scioli was third for quite a while, but then falls back to fourth. Jonathan Evans, a good day in fifth. Connor Okresic worked his way up to sixth. Forbes gets his top 10. Matt Kemp in 8th, Daniel Day in 9th, and then Jake Nichols, that tire strap, puts him down to 10th.
Yeah, unfortunate timing there for Jake Nichols. John Furness missing out on that top 10. Zach Kerr, 12th. Philip Groner was inside the top 10 for a good portion, finishes 13th. Brody Falliker, 14th. Blaze McKinney, the Apron King, finishing 15th. And then it's Venable, Schaefer, Batby, Lakatos, and DeWeese in the top 20.
And 21st through 30th as follows: Ed Shearer in 21st, Jimmy Cocker in 22nd. Pretty much everybody at this point on had something go wrong. Justin Opplinger, Matt Bell, Jeff Wright, David Weishart, Jeremy Miller, Justin Anasogak, Ed Robertson, and then Dominic Lukomowski. Lukomowski, I probably butchered that, but he is in 30th.
Lance Weileman in 31st, the second to last yellow of the race to really spice things up. Alan Fox, Francis Hamilton, Jeremy Brown, and Nate Stewart, top 35. Then it's Joseph Berg, Greg Mitchell, Bryce Senesac, Garrett Grant, and then Brad Slaughter, who went belly up on the front stretch here early in the going, finishing 40th.
On your lid at Loudon's not a normality, but it was for him. Rafe Slate, Sander Nyhoff, and then Michael Mohammed, the last guys that took to the grid. I think Michael might have gotten DQ'd there because of how the grid has populated. The rest of the guys were DNQs, but we'll head right to victory lane here with our race winner, Mr. Sebastian. Just have to find him here and scuffle through all of the ruckus here in victory lane, aka moving him into the right channel. And here he is, Sebastian. You won today's race back to back. Last week at Homestead, it was dominating. Today, not so much. We thought you were going to blow by Zach and just drive off into oblivion, but he held you off there and really made you work for this one, man.
Man, yeah, he sure did. Zach was super quick. I think he kind of picked up what lines I was using. And it's so hard to pass around here. And the only way I was going to pass him was really if I hit him relatively hard to knock him out of the way. But I didn't feel like it was the appropriate time to really be that aggressive, right? If that was the last run, then for sure. But we were still near halfway. So I hit him here and there to try and get him a little loose. But it's so hard to get him out of the groove unless I hit him hard enough. So I was just kind of stuck behind him, and then the last couple runs before I pitted, my tires seemed to finally equalize to him, so I was just stuck in his dirty air around 3/10 back. And then I kind of knew it was going to be a track position race. I felt like if I got the lead, I could manage my pace while maybe he used up his tires trying to get back to me, and then I could, pull away. And I think that's kind of what happened. Obviously, traffic kind of came into play, so maybe I got a little more fortunate with traffic there at the end. But yeah, that was a lot harder than last week for sure. But I would say it was a little bit of a surprise for my part. I was expecting top 10, but this is, I would say, probably one of my worst tracks, and I just don't like it. So to be honest, I'm happy the way I performed, the speed I showed. So other than that, I would say it was a great day. So
yeah, absolutely conquering a weakness track. Obviously, that is the sign of someone who is going to be championship worthy. But just talk about calling a pit strat in this kind of race, man. Obviously, the first 30, 40 laps was an absolute chaos. And then we had that magic run that basically ran the race green up until the green-white checkers. How difficult is it to call a race knowing you have so many cautions, but then you're getting later and later, and you're like, I might have to plan for this one to be the long run. What was your kind of strategy going through all those early cautions, pit strategy-wise?
Oh, man, it was giving me a headache because, like you said, I wanted to pit for sure, but if we got a yellow, the possibility of me losing a lap and then being trapped a lap down and then being stuck mid-pack and then getting involved in the chaos that happened at the start of the race, that was going through my mind. So I think me and Nichols just went long, just let the other people around us pit. We felt like we had a big enough gap where we didn't have to pit early enough to cover somebody else, right? Like if there was somebody else within a second or two behind us, we probably would have pitted earlier. But since it was just me and him, had a comfortable gap, it was just going to be who's going to pit first and who's going to react. I knew I wanted to pit around where I did to have enough laps in case I don't know, in case he undercuts me. Luckily, I ended up doing it to him. But if he decides to undercut me, I didn't want to wait too far where I just wouldn't give myself enough laps to get back to him and even give myself a chance. So I just rolled the dice. Luckily, after pit stops, we still rolled out, I think, in the top 5 or right outside of it. And we got back to the net lead very quickly. So that was very fortunate, because if a yellow came out there, it would have thrown a wrench into the books, and yeah, we did not want that. So after that, it was just managing, and then that late race caution comes out, like you kind of always got to expect. And luckily I had enough lappers in between us where, as long as nobody took 2 tires or did anything crazy strategy wise, I was gonna come out with the lead because of all the gaps between the lappers to Nichols. So yeah, besides that, it was just focus forward, don't even worry about the rear view mirror, and bring it home, which I did. So
yeah, you did just that, man. And we'll see if you can go for the turkey and get the 3-peat at the Brickyard next week. Congrats on going P1.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
And now we'll go into second place here as Hunter has caught up with Zach Nichols.
Yep, got Zach Nichols right here. Almost had it at the very end. If that yellow didn't come out, did you feel like you had a chance for him? And did that contact with the wall do anything to affect your car in the late going before that second to last yellow of the race?
No, I don't think it did. I don't think I had anything for Sebastian there at the end. We used up our tires trying to get to him, and then we just had so many lap cars get in between us there at the end. So it was quite unfortunate, but he was pretty smart with the undercut, like pitting early and whatnot. But yeah, it was a fun race, and I'm surprised we came home P2.
Yeah, you trailed just by 6 points to him in the standings, heading to the famous Brickyard next week in Indianapolis. What are your thoughts heading into that race, as it's a 2.5 mile rectangle of sorts? Interesting comparison compared to the track that we're at tonight in New Hampshire. It's still flat, but it's very long, very fast. Just give me your initial thoughts heading into next week for the Brickyard.
Usually, this track there's a decent amount of cautions. Indianapolis can usually be hit or miss with like just carnage or racing green. So hopefully it's a green race, and hopefully we can continue our momentum there.
Yeah, he's second in points. He's second on the track, but he's knocking on the door for that win this season. It's Zach Nichols, second place finisher.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and now we'll talk to our third place finisher, Travis Beckner. Travis, an up and down day for you. Had to overcome that penalty. You had that amazing restart. Apparently it was a little bit too amazing. And then to work your way back, got yourself on the podium, man. How do you summarize tonight up?
Yeah, this week has definitely been an up and down week. Got P5, I think it was, on Monday night. Started P40 on Tuesday night. Made my way up to the lead at one point. Got some left rear damage that night. Killed me the rest of the race, and then got turnt coming out turn 4. And then last night, choked a win away in VDRA. And then tonight, finally got a top 3. So it's about time. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Hopefully we're going to get one. But the race was pretty fun tonight. Had quite a few cautions there at the beginning, but enjoyed the long run there at the end. And the late caution definitely helped me out big time.
Yeah, certainly there you had a podium run that went for naught there in the truck race. You got that here today. Just kind of summarize for the fans at home here. We obviously covered the Tuesday race as well. We saw a lot different strategy with how you drove this place. There were a couple guys who were running that flat, but it certainly was not as prevalent as it was on Tuesday night. How much different was it whipping these Xfinity cars here compared to those trucks on Tuesday?
It was definitely more unstable in the rear. A lot of protecting the right rear, saving that as much as possible. If you were not able to save it, you were going to be dead in the long run. Which on the first run, I wasn't able, or the initial start of the long run before we pitted, my right rear was destroyed. So I fell back to P9, did the undercut, and didn't cook my tires that time, and tires evened out to where I could stay up in P5 or P6, P5, wherever I was. And the late caution, and got lucky with the restarts there.
Yeah, certainly the case. Next week, we have the first week of the season that has, it's not a complete triple header across the same track, Cup and here in the Pro. We head to, Indy, and then the trucks will head to Texas. Where's your confidence level at next week heading to those circuits?
We'll see what happens. Texas and Indy aren't quite the tracks that I'm good at. I won't have any practice whatsoever heading into the Cup race because I will be quite literally getting home from California as the lobby's going up. So that's gonna be fun.
Well, sometimes lack of practice is better because you won't overthink things, man. But congrats on wrapping things up this week on a positive note, and we'll follow you next week.
Yep, before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Hendry County Motorsports Park, Central Mobile Home Sheds, Wilson Race Cars, everybody Low Dollar Racing, Central United Motorsports, y'all broadcasting this race. Good to see you back in the booth, Hunter. Got to give you a shout out. And, of course, my dad. I got to thank my grandparents before he says, don't forget to thank your grandparents. And everybody that watched tonight and everybody that came out and raced tonight. It was a fun race.
Yeah, definitely all sentiments agreed on, man. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And that is our wrapping up of the podium, and that's our wrapping up of our post-race show. Final thoughts here, Hunter, before we wrap things up.
I mean, it was an eventful race. It seemed like it was going to be a yellow fest in the beginning, but it did even out to a nice green flag run, and then that late yellow kind of changed things, and thought we were just going to get another wreck fest at the end, but didn't end up getting that. Saw a nice race, very satisfying to watch compared to what happened on Monday, but very interesting in seeing the Pro Series return to the art of bricks next Thursday, and then same thing with Cup. They'll be heading to Indianapolis, and then you mentioned the trucks will be at Texas instead, so should be a fun week next week for area in all three of their series.
Absolutely, and you want to stay tuned to it. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe here on PTR TV, and if you're watching on the Twitch side of things, make sure you subscribe and follow over there. Again, $5 a month will get you the custom emotes and the ability to earn points for your free merch. This is going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.